The mysterious disappearance of Thomas Langston, a twisted web of deception, a wealthy businessman, a picture-perfect family, and a chilling disappearance that would shatter everything. This is the story of Thomas Langston, a man who vanished without a trace, leaving behind questions far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Thomas Langston, a 45-year-old real estate mogul, was last seen on the night of January 16, 2024, leaving a business meeting in downtown Hartford, Connecticut. By all accounts, it was a normal evening. He drove his luxury sedan through the quiet, tree-lined streets back to his upscale home in West Hartford. But what happened next would remain a mystery for weeks to come. The following morning, Thomas's wife, Emily Langston, contacted the police. Her voice trembled as she reported that her husband had never come home. She sounded frantic, almost broken. Emily told the police that their home security system had failed that night, a problem that Thomas had been meaning to fix, but never did. It was the first of many small but significant details that would later become key to unraveling this chilling case. Detective Harold Davies, a seasoned investigator with over 20 years on the force, was assigned to the case. From the moment he stepped into the Langston mansion, something about the scene didn't sit right with him. The house was pristine, almost too perfect. Thomas's car was parked in the driveway, his wallet, phone, and keys left neatly on the kitchen counter as though he'd meant to return. But there was no sign of him. And then there was the blood. A faint, barely visible smear of blood in the kitchen sink. It was small, too small to draw immediate suspicion, but Davies knew that even the smallest clues could unravel the biggest mysteries. When asked about it, Emily brushed the stain off as a simple kitchen accident, claiming she'd cut her hand while cooking the night before.
It's nothing, just a little cut. I was waiting for Thomas, but he never came home.
Emily's words seemed genuine. Her eyes were red and swollen, her voice cracked under the weight of her emotions. But behind the tears, Detective Davies sensed something else. A calculated calmness, as if she was performing a role. As days passed and no sign of Thomas emerged, the police launched a full-scale investigation. The Langston family was well known in the community, and news of Thomas's disappearance dominated the headlines. Emily made several tearful appearances on television, pleading for her husband's safe return. Her emotions seemed raw, but Davies remained skeptical. The investigation soon uncovered a disturbing trail of financial irregularities. In the weeks before Thomas's disappearance, he had withdrawn over $1.2 million from his joint accounts with Emily. Large sums of money had been transferred to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. But when Emily was questioned, she claimed ignorance.
Thomas handled all our finances. I didn't know anything about those transfers. He must have been working on a new investment.
But why hadn't she mentioned these suspicious withdrawals earlier? As Detective Davies continued to probe, he uncovered a series of inconsistencies in Emily's story. Things weren't adding up, and the more Emily spoke, the more Davies began to suspect that Thomas's disappearance wasn't the result of a random act, but something far more deliberate. Red herring, a potential affair. The investigation then took an unexpected turn. Phone records revealed that in the weeks leading up to Thomas's disappearance, Emily had been in frequent contact with a man named Ian Marshall, a local contractor with a criminal past. The calls had occurred late at night, sometimes lasting hours. Emily claimed that Ian was just a contractor she'd hired to help with renovations at a property she and Thomas owned. But the timing and frequency of the calls raised red flags.
we were talking about the renovations, there was nothing more to it.
Davies wasn't convinced. Could Ian have played a role in Thomas's disappearance? Or was he just a pawn in a more elaborate scheme? Weeks passed with no sign of Thomas, and hope began to fade. But then, a chilling discovery was made. A hiker in a nearby state park stumbled upon a bloody bundle of clothes and Thomas's wallet, discarded near a shallow river. There was no body, just the unmistakable signs of foul play. The discovery reignited the investigation, but it also deepened the mystery. What had happened to Thomas? Had he been attacked and left for dead? Or was this just another piece of a larger puzzle? Detective Davies dug deeper into Ian Marshall's past and discovered a trail of fraud, manipulation, and dangerous connections. Suspicion grew that Ian and Emily were more than just business associates, but there was still no proof. Without a body, the case remained frustratingly incomplete. Late one night, Davies received an anonymous tip. A gray sedan had been spotted near Clearview Lake, a location Emily had once mentioned as her peaceful retreat. The tipster claimed to have seen two figures unloading something heavy from the car and dragging it toward the water. The police were dispatched to the lake, and what they found would finally break the case wide open. In the dark, cold waters of Clearview Lake, they found Thomas Langston's body, wrapped in plastic and weighed down with concrete blocks. The final revelation, the shocking conclusion. The discovery of Thomas's body brought Emily's carefully constructed lies crashing down. She and Ian Marshall were arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Emily, the woman who had once been seen as a grieving wife, was now the prime suspect in a cold-blooded plot to kill her husband.
It wasn't me. Ian did it.
But it was too late. The evidence was overwhelming. Phone records, financial transfers, and now a body in the lake. Emily had orchestrated the entire crime, and Ian had helped her cover it up. The trial of Emily Langston and Ian Marshall captivated the nation. Emily was sentenced to life in prison, while Ian received 25 years for his role in the crime. But even as justice was served, one question remained unanswered. What drove Emily to orchestrate such a cold-blooded murder? Was it greed, desperation, or something even darker? What do you think? Let us know your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to True Crime Chronicles for more twisted mysteries.